So we've been thinking about things that you might do to try to encourage the growth of this market, and I want to lay out 5 ideas that we have, and we're really interested in hearing people's thoughts and comments about these ideas. One idea would address the consumer, the lack of consumer information that we think may be a factor in this market. We could, in the same way that the government has tried to give people better information about nutrition issues through what used to be called the food pyramid and is now the My Plate graphic. I still think of it as the food pyramid, but you could do the same kind of thing for helping people to think about financial decision making, more generally maybe, but certainly in the retirement space. And so you could imagine developing a graphic that pointed people towards potentially useful products, such as longevity annuities, but other things as well. We have some ideas about candidates to develop this sort of graphic, though we haven't talked to them about whether they'd like to take this on. The government could go even further and certify financial products as meeting standards of reliability, cost, and quality. So better consumer education could be a good step. A second thing that we would like to see happen is to loosen up the rules about what insurance companies are allowed to say about the state guarantee associations that operate in every state. For those of you who may not be familiar with these guarantee associations, what they are is associations of insurers in each state that pledge to support payments to policyholders of companies that end up going out of business. There are limits on what the insurance company pledge, how much the insurance company is going to contribute. There are limits on the size of the policies that are covered, usually $250,000 for annuity policies at this point in time. But the laws these associations are an important backstop on the system. I mentioned people worry about the insurance companies not being there to pay the benefits that they've promised. The truth is that insurance companies have actually done a really good job of delivering on their promises. Even in the Great Recession, there were only a handful of insurance companies that became insolvent. Their assets were sufficient to pay most of what they owed to their policyholders, and the State Guarantee Association funds made up most of the rest. So it seems to us that loosening up the rules on what insurance companies could say about the coverage provided by these funds could help with the market for this product. The third proposal that we would make is that we revisit the safe harbor that's offered to employers who would like to offer an annuity as an option in their retirement plans. The current safe harbor is pretty demanding. The current safe harbor requirement is that at the time of selection, the employer must determine that the annuity provider is financially able to make all future payments under the annuity contract, and the cost of the annuity contract is reasonable, blah, blah, blah. It's the first part of that I'm concerned about. I think it's really hard for your average employer to make that determination. And I think it's, even if the employer thinks they can make a good determination, it's really hard for them to feel confident that at some point down the road, they're not going to end up getting sued if something goes wrong. So I think there is a good argument for introducing a safe harbor that's more transparent and more easily verifiable. A couple of options there would be to go with the recommendation of the American Council of Life Insurers, which is that an employer would have a safe harbor if they picked an insurance company that's licensed in at least 26 states. There are alternatives that you could look at, but something that's more transparent and more easily verifiable. Just a couple of other quick ideas here. One way to jumpstart the market for longevity annuities would be to have a big player start offering them. And something the federal government could do would be to start offering them as part of the thrift savings plan, to make a longevity annuity option available to people in that plan. It's a lot of people, it's a lot of retirement assets, and it could, I think, send a useful signal. And then finally, a last idea targeted towards the concern that insurance companies that offer these products face risk in the form of mortality turning out to be different than expected, so that people live longer than expected, would be to offer a longevity bond that would be something that insurance companies could buy to hedge against that risk. So this is a little bit more speculative idea, but something that we think could help bolster the market with respect to insurance company interest in offering these products.